have that high wind warning tomorrow. Chance of showers at 59. Mostly cloudy, 53 on Saturday. Rick Shrimp, 14.
Driven to succeed.
Looking to launch a career in the skilled trades but don't know where to begin? Part-time service in the Ohio Army National Guard can help. You can kickstart your career by enlisting in one of our many trades-based jobs. Get paid to learn these skills and gain on-the-job training when you report to your unit 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks in the summer. To learn how the Guard can pay for your civilian trade certification, visit nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and you're listening to my guys, Kenner and Schlemmer, right here on Dayton's.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is the job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in live here on a Thursday. It's the Justin Kenner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. No Reds baseball today, interrupting the show. We get to do a full show today. How about that? It's been a busy week. Selection Sunday coming up this Sunday. And, well, things got a little bit more interesting today. Miami, the Red Hawks, undefeated no more. They lose in the first game of the MAC championship in the quarterfinal. They lose 87-83 against UMass. UMass 17-15 on the season. They were 7-11 in MAC play this year in Miami of Ohio after a 31-0 undefeated regular season. The number 20 team, at least for now, the number 20 team in the country goes down at the hands of the Minutemen earlier today. Chaos has ensued. Miami, the Redhawks had a 39-37 two-point advantage at the half, but they were outscored by the Minutemen 50-44 in the second half in Cleveland. Paul Frischner, who always joins us about once a week during the season, he's going to hop on with us coming up here in about 10 minutes. He's live in Cleveland covering the MAC tournament, of course. He's been all over. He was with me in Indianapolis earlier in the week for the Horizon League Finals. He was yesterday covering the Big 12 tournament with Cincinnati. And, of course, he's in Cleveland today. So he's going to join us coming up here around the corner. Looking forward to having him hop on. But we got a lot to get into. I want to start with this one with Miami, of course. You know, it's interesting. I started looking at this. We are fortunate to have so many teams here, college, D1 college basketball teams in the state of Ohio. And with that, whether it's Akron, whether it's Miami, whether it's Bowling Green, whether it's Toledo, whether it's Wright State, whether it's Dayton, Xavier, Cincinnati, Ohio State, and Cleveland State. I'm missing so many. There's so many college basketball teams. Akron, Kent State. I mean, so many Division I basketball teams here in the state of Ohio. And we already have one team from Ohio that has punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament in Wright State. They just won the Horizon League 2 nights ago. Ohio State seems to be a lock at this point. They just came away with the win earlier today. They had a commanding lead against Iowa. Iowa came screaming back in that one and had a chance to take that game late, but Ohio State holds off 72-69 the final. They had a 34-30 lead at the half, outscored by 1 against Iowa in the second half, but they come away with the one-possession lead. Bruce Thornton, the Ohio State Buckeyes, all-time leading scorer now. He finished and helped lead the way, 24 points and 6 rebounds. But it does appear that Ohio State, that their NCAA tournament hopes are safe, that they're in. So we know Ohio State's in. We know that Wright State is in, getting the auto bid after winning the Horizon. And we pretty much thought Miami was in, and I still think Miami's in. But I think we all expected that if Miami lost, that it would be a little bit later in the conference tournament. I don't think anyone anticipated them losing in game 1 of the conference tournament. So that makes things interesting. That makes this really interesting and how all of this is going to unfold and develop. You look at with all the great teams, or with all the Division I shouldn't say great, but with all the Division I teams we have here in the state of Ohio, we average about 2.5 on average. It equals out to about 2.5, but about 2 teams a year. Last year in 2025, Xavier and Akron, Xavier, who we saw play here in the first 4, Xavier and Akron made the NCAA tournament last year. 2 years ago, Dayton and Akron made the NCAA tournament. In 2023, 3 teams made it: Xavier, Kent State out of the MAC, and of course, Ohio State. That was the last time the Buckeyes made the tournament with Holtman as the head coach. Ohio State did make it in 2022, along with Wright State and Akron. In 2021, Ohio State and Cleveland State made it. Since 2020, the most teams that have made the NCAA tournament from the state of Ohio, 3 back in 2023 with Xavier, Kent State, and Ohio State. This could be a year where we get probably the most teams from the state of Ohio in the tournament in quite some time. Wright State's in the mix. Wright State is in. Ohio State appears to be in. I think Miami's in. We're going to talk about that with Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown coming up here in just a few moments. Dayton still has a chance. They will play tomorrow. Dayton Flyers will be in action tomorrow. Again, they got the double bye in the A-10 tournament. So tomorrow we will get a chance to see Dayton play in their first conference tournament game. That'll be a 2:00 tip-off. That's quarterfinal action. Dayton would have to win 3 games to get to the NCAA tournament. So again, Wright State, Ohio State, potentially Miami of Ohio. I think they're okay. Dayton could possibly do it. Xavier won a conference tournament game, right? Cincinnati, their season is done. They're out. So it'll be interesting to see what all happens, but it appears that this is, to get 3 teams in out of the state of Ohio could be interesting. And to be honest, it could be more, because I think Akron's most likely going to win the MAC, championship. They're going to win this MAC tournament. So Akron and Miami, a 2-bid conference right there, and 2 teams out of Ohio. Wright State out of the horizon, Ohio State out of the Big Ten. Maybe Dayton could be the 5th. But it is crazy that, we don't get more. I mean, again, 2 teams last year, 2 teams in 24, 3 in 23, 3 in 22, and 2 in 22 as far as that goes. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I've been following that. I think it'd be interesting. The other nugget about this as well, Wright State, who's in the tournament, Dayton and Wright State have never punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament in the same season before. And for that to happen, Dayton would have to do what Wright State has had to do, and that's win their conference tournament to get in because the at-large is not in their favor. Nonetheless, I might be missing a team. I don't think that I am, but it's an interesting follow nonetheless, and we'll be joined by Paul Frischner more coming up here just around the corner. But again, if you are just joining us, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Miami, a 31-0 regular season. 31-0 regular season, and their season comes to, I should not say their season comes to a halt. Their conference tournament run comes to a halt. 87-83, the final. They lose against the Minutemen. UMass punches them in the mouth as far as that's concerned. Antoine Woolfolk had 14 points for the Red Hawks, 17 from Byers to help lead the way there, 16 from Elmer. Skulljack had 10 in double digits as well. He had 7 assists. Look, at the end of the day, Miami shot 48% from the floor. They were 36% from behind the three-point line. But defensively, that's the thing about Miami, too, that I don't think was talked about enough throughout the regular season is, yes, this is a team. It's a high-powered offensive team. They score a lot of points, but they give up a lot of points as well, and I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the defensive averages on the season, but you go through, some of these games. They've had some big nights where they've given. I mean, they gave up 108 points against Ohio, right? They played Buffalo. They gave up 102 points against Buffalo earlier in the season. There are some games where they give up a heavy chunk of points, and we saw that happen earlier on today, nonetheless. But Miami is out. I think a lot of people were anticipating them being knocked out or being, not winning the MAC tournament, right? I just don't think anyone had anticipated them getting knocked out early like this. Nonetheless, but we're going to step away for a few minutes. We're going to be joined by Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown coming up here around the corner. What happened in Cleveland? What happened in the MAC tournament? The Miami Redhawks undefeated, no more. Paul Frischner covering the MAC tournament, covering the Redhawks game in Cleveland. He's going to join us live from Cleveland when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 312 here in the Miami Valley. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
Harry Douglas here. I don't wait for birthdays to celebrate. I grab Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It tastes like rich vanilla birthday cake with buttery funfetti goodness. Seriously, it's unapologetically extra in the best way. And it's sugar-free, so I get all that cake flavor without the guilt. It's tiny, portable, and ready for whenever I need a quick boost. I keep one with me because you never know when you'll need a little party energy. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
Save big on everything when you shop at Menards. It's a great time to upgrade your lighting. We have the largest selection of stock Sylvania True Wave light bulbs. They're designed to help you feel and see better. Receive $5 instant savings on a qualifying purchase of $20 or more on True Wave LED bulbs, now through March 15th. View our selection of lighting products on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer to find great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefonte, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's the Race Cars and Future Stars Expo 2026, March 20th through 22nd at the Piqua Center. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9. Sunday, noon to 5. Saturday is Kids Day with balloon artists, face painting, and the Dayton Race Fans Benefit Auction at 1 o'clock. Over 60 race cars from Ohio and Indiana. Your chance to be up close with some of the best cars and drivers in the area. Food, fun, and entertainment. Admission is free. The Race Cars and Future Stars Expo at the Piqua Center, I-75. Exit 82. Don't miss it.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-216-1635 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-216-1635. That's 800-216-1635. What do you have to lose? Call 800-216-1635. Again, 800-216-1635.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, we're back. It's the Justin Kenner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. A lot to get into here today. The show will not be interrupted by Reds baseball, so we don't have to keep starting a show, ending a show, all that fun stuff. Glad to be back with you. 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or text to jump back in. We're Dayton's Radio Home for Wright State basketball, who punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament with the Horizon League championship win the other night over Detroit. We're also Dayton's Radio Home for Ohio State basketball, who, a couple weeks ago on the bubble, and they've won 3-4 straight now, and they just continue to climb, and it seems that their seat in the NCAA tournament is safe. But we had that game for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio leading into the show. They'll play again tomorrow. We'll have more on that coming up in a bit, but a little bit of a stunner. Like we're gearing up. We're anticipating the NCAA tournament coming up, Selection Sunday. We all love the NCAA tournament. We love all the upsets. We love all the chaos. We love all the madness. And when you talk about Miami of Ohio, you talk about a team out of the MAC, you would think that we talk about Miami in March. We're talking about them out of the MAC being one of those Cinderella teams, upsetting teams, knocking off teams. But this has been such a dominant season for them, undefeated, or at least we're undefeated coming into today. They're the team that gets upset. They're the team that gets knocked out in surprising form. And joining us now, who usually joins us on Tuesdays, but giving us time because he's in Cleveland covering the MAC tournament, covering the Red Hawks of Miami, Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown, giving us some time here today. Paul, how are we? Appreciate your time. What's going on, man?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Justin. What a stunner of a day, an absolute stunner of a day. It's weird. Travis still talked about it a little bit after the game, where you could tell he sort of made an inference to it in his post-game press conference when he was asked about the MAC tournament format, and then didn't exactly say, yeah, they should change it. But basically what he was implying was, hey, we went 31-0 and went undefeated, and the reward was 11 a.m. on Thursday morning against a team that has given us some trouble this year, right? Why don't we protect the teams like Miami and Akron? And I don't blame him for that. But overall, look, UMass had to play at the same time, and they punked Miami on the glass. That's where this game was decided. They out-rebounded Miami 41-24. They outscored Miami 24-8 on points on second chance points. That's your game right there.
Yeah, and look, a little bit of a stunner too, because they got out, up early. I'm doing my thing. I'm running around the office working, and then I was on a meeting. I end that meeting and I check it, I refresh it, I see social media blowing up. I couldn't believe they pulled it off. I saw you post the clip as time was expiring on the Rebound Rundown account. Just what was the vibe in that arena like? Because look, I think a lot of people felt like Miami, after going 31-0, that they weren't going to win the MAC tournament. But I think if they weren't going to win the MAC tournament, maybe felt like that was going to happen later in the tournament, like the championship, like against Akron, right? For it to happen against UMass, I mean, it was kind of a deflating feel and vibe in that arena, right? Or was it a lot of joy and, because of all the excitement of the upset? What was that environment like in the arena?
No, I mean, I was sitting behind the UMass student radio, so there was definitely some elation from there. But other than that, it was I was sitting on the Miami. The press seating was on Miami's side of the arena, and credit to the Miami fans that traveled to this game. There was a massive Miami crowd there for it being an 11 a.m. game on a Thursday. And it was stunned silence at the end. If we're just calling it like it is, there weren't many UMass fans at all at that game, maybe a handful here and there, but it was a Miami dominant crowd. And you could kind of tell the air go out of the building at the very end, where there was a lot of, wow, that actually just happened. And the air goes out because it's 95% Miami fans there. And I think maybe the neutrals, the other fans of the other teams that were there, some Bowling Green fans, some Toledo fans that, were waiting on the next game, probably want UMass to win that game so they don't have to deal with Miami next. But, that's one of those situations where you get to March, you've played a team twice already. They've played you tough in both games, and you get down to, the final minute where, Miami was up 11 with about 8 minutes to go. And UMass just kept making plays. They just kept getting rebounds. They just kept boxing out. Come back, tie the game. And you feel like somehow, some way, Miami's going to be able to get this done. Somehow, they've done it all year. Surely this is the time they'll be able to figure it out, but it wasn't today.
So now, theoretically, is the MAC a two-bid league? Because I think a lot of people say you're undefeated, you're fine, you're in. I still think they're in, but I think the confidence, where are we with the confidence level of that? Could we expect any kind of weird stuff happening on Selection Sunday? Because again, I don't think we all expected them to, or you have to win the conference tournament to get in, but losing to UMass on the first day of the tournament, it does add a little wrinkle to this, right? Or are they safe no matter what at this point?
I think they're safe. And in fact, I wouldn't even be shocked if they avoided Dayton. I think they're plenty safe in this tournament. Will they end up in Dayton? Maybe, because their wins above the bubble probably took a hit losing this game to UMass as opposed to losing to Akron or one of the other teams that are a little higher rated in the conference. But even still, what I will be interested in, I have no doubt in my mind that Miami is going to hear their name called on Sunday. Where I will be interested, Justin, is to see where they get seated, because there is absolutely no precedent for this Miami team. Their metrics on KenPom, Torvik, all of those are, in the 90s. They're not great. Whereas their resume metrics, their wins above the bubble, their strength of record, all of those metrics are more indicative of being in the 8-9 game, maybe the 10 seed now that they've lost this game. But there's really no precedent for a team that's gone undefeated and had metrics as polar opposite as Miami does. So it'll be a good, I think for mid-majors across the country, this will be a very good, test scenario to see what does Miami end up with. But they'll hear their name called. They'll be in the tournament.
They had a little bit of a break, of course, I'm on the air. You good? Sorry. No, we have a little bit of a break, of course, from sorry, I got my ADD all thrown off. No, they had a little bit of a break, of course, from the regular season to today playing in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Now a break to Selection Sunday, and then even longer than that. I mean, this is going to be a long break, another week break in between. How do you see that kind of playing a role in this? I mean, there's so many question marks with this team. Where are they going to be seated? Where are they going to play? Who are they going to play? Where are they going to play? And when are they going to play? Miami, the most polarizing team in this tournament at this point.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because look, if they do end up in Dayton, they could be playing in 5 days on Tuesday, or they could get thrown somewhere into a region in a pod that plays next Friday, and they could have 8 days off. I mean, we really have no idea what's going to happen here with Miami. So they'll be in, but you talk about rest versus rust. This is probably a team that it won't hurt them to get back to the drawing board and figure some things out. I thought they left a ton on the table defensively today, Justin. It's one of those deals where when I sit in the media seating at Miami, it's courtside. And when I watch this team on TV, it's different than actually being in the arena and sitting in an elevated view and seeing what's going on defensively. I don't know why it's so different in person versus on a screen. That's just a helpful viewing experience for me. And I thought Miami left a lot on the table defensively today. I really did. I thought they struggled to guard. And if they're going to struggle to guard against UMass, what will happen next week, in the first round of the NCAA tournament? So those are things you're looking for, but also this team has adjusted extremely well through the season when adversity has hit them or they've needed to have a bounce back game. Now they're going to have to do it against what will likely be a power conference opponent.
All right, couple quick things on the way out. Again, I know you're in Cleveland. Are you staying in Cleveland with them out, or are you heading back?
No, we are. No, we're not coming back. We're headed down to Pittsburgh for Dayton tomorrow morning. Yep.
Were you planning that no matter what, whether they won or not?
Well, we were going to be here with Miami no matter how long they went, unless Xavier had gone to the Big East Championship game. We were going to have to figure out, that one. We flew in from New York this morning, basically went straight to the arena, and now instead of being here for 3 days, we're going to go down to Pittsburgh.
Sounds like a plan. So you got Dayton tomorrow, UCF, UC. UC season pretty much, unless they go to that Vegas tournament again. Is Cincinnati season done?
I mean, it's done in the sense of meaningful games with the NCAA tournament. Do they have to play in the Crown because of contractual obligations, or do they have to play in the NIT for the same reason? Maybe. But for all intents and purposes, Cincinnati season is over. And now the question is, does Wes Miller come back next year?
Yep. All eyes on that. Xavier, of course, they win against Marquette. They'll play again coming up later on tonight at 7:00. But yeah, Xavier, they get a Big East tournament win.
They do. Marquette yesterday by the same score that they lost to Marquette last year, and now they got to conquer Goliath in UConn. We'll see what happens tonight, 7:00.
Teams we've talked about all season. You saw Wright State in the semifinal against NKU. They closed it out against Detroit. I thought they were done. I thought Detroit had that in the bag. I thought, man, they came this far, but hey, good season. We've seen some weird comebacks against NKU on a few occasions, and they had to come back from 12, but they pull it off. And Clint Sargent, in his second year as a head coach, leads the Raiders to the tournament.
Yeah, really impressed with the way that team came together down the stretch. They were the best team in the league this season, and you had a mix of youth and experience, but a lot of youth on that team, and you're wondering to yourself, when you get Michael Cooper, TJ Birch, guys that really haven't been in that situation, can they overcome some of that adversity where they get down late in the game? And they were studs. They were winners. Michael Amari Bay steps to the line. All of those things come together, and they win the Horizon League title for the first time in a few seasons, and Clint Sargent gets into the NCAA tournament. So, congrats to Wright State. A really well-played game there to clinch their bid.
Dayton tomorrow, you're going to see them, of course. Your thoughts on that matchup? We don't know who they're going to play yet, but your thoughts on Dayton heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis is kind of limped to the finish here. So when you look at what Dayton is able to do, I think I picked VCU to win the tournament. But I picked Dayton as if VCU doesn't win, who's my second team? I would say Dayton. I've said this a million times. I think every single week I've been on the show with you, Justin. That sounds like a broken record, but Everybody listening to this knows they haven't won the tournament since 2003. At some point, they're going to have to break the streak. Is it this year? I hope it is. I hope Dayton wins the A10 tournament this year, and we're watching them play next week. This team is capable of doing it. They are good enough to do it when they put it all together. They got to do it 3 times in 3 days. I think they can. I think the bracket actually sets up fairly well for them. And, so we'll see and tip the ball up tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
In the last 5 years, the most teams from the state of Ohio that have made the tournament has been 3 on a few occasions. But Wright State's in, Miami's in. You would think Ohio State looks pretty safe at this point. And now we'll just keep an eye on what's going on with UD and the A10. Xavier's still alive. But Akron, there are a lot of Ohio teams left in that MAC tournament over there. So we'll see what happens. But, could be a couple more teams making it from the state of Ohio. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would not be stunned at all. I think Akron's the runaway favorite to win this tournament now. So, would not be shocked at all if John Gross is the MAC champion on Saturday night. All
right, you the man. Hey, by the way, Mike LaTulip, I had a chance to work with him in the final the other night. He said to tell you hello, by the way. So,
the man.
Yeah, he said he worked with you for the TBT games in the past. And, so cool stuff. But, hey, you the man, Paul. I know you're busy, traveling a lot. Enjoy it. This is the best time of year. And we'll talk next week. I'll see you in Dayton next week.
Appreciate it, Justin. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that was Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown. Awesome enough to give us some time. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Step away for a few moments. 937-518-1410 if you want to call and jump in on the conversation. Look, Paul just alluded to it. Yeah, Miami, they frustrate me. Do they really have to be a victim in everything? Really? Oh, boo-hoo, they won't schedule us. Oh, boo-hoo, they were calling us names. Oh, boo-hoo, the MAC's not protecting us. You were up 8 with a few minutes to go and you couldn't close it out against a bad UMass team. And now you're blaming the conference for not protecting. What do we do? Why does this team they should be the most likable team in college basketball, and I don't believe that they are. How do you find a way to be a victim in everything? It baffles me. Your thoughts, Miami, are they safe? Are they in? Paul says they are. I think that they're in as well, but will it end after winning 31 straight games this season? 31-0 to losing game 1 of the MAC tournament. Potentially they're going to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament because they're going to play a real team. I mean, I don't know. It's for as high as this season has gone, I could see it going pretty low pretty quickly. We'll see what happens. But Miami's season, regular season, conference tournament season done. It's all up to Selection Sunday. But let's talk more about the Red Hawks when we come back. 937-518-1410. Always a victim. I don't get it. We'll be right back.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
Gem City Water. We're a local veteran-owned company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. Our water is tastier, healthier, and eco-friendlier. Visit gemcitywater.com for more info.
Make the first call, John Sewer and Drain, for your drain and sewer issues. John Sewer and Drain are experts that work on salary, not commission. Be sure to get a second opinion with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and over 40 years experience. They know how to fix it. Now offering free camera inspections with all drain cleanings, plus discounts for seniors, first responders, active duty military, and veterans. Call 937-342-1666 or find them on Facebook. John Sewer and Drain, clearing your pipes without without draining your water.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Do you have travel plans in the future? Are you TSA pre-checked? Hi, I'm Shannon Crabtree, representing Mike Foley's Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office. I'm reminding you that you can get TSA pre-checked as well as update your passport at our convenient auto title location inside the Montgomery County Administration Building lobby.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Please visit GetTSAPrecheckNow.com to schedule your TSA appointment at 451 West 3rd Street in downtown Dayton. We do take walk-ins, but priority goes to appointments.
It's another convenient service of your Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
Traffic and body pain can slow you down, but don't let the pain stop you. With just one pill, Aleve provides up to 12 hours of pain relief, so you can keep moving. Use as directed.
For decades, people have been asking, what's the famous recipe behind Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken? And we've decided we're finally going to tell you. Starting with the 8-piece family meal and its 8 pieces of crispy, delicious bone-in chicken, 4 fluffy, buttery biscuits, and 2 large sides. Oh, wait, I'm just getting word from our lawyers that I can't actually tell you any of that. So, better pick up an 8-piece family meal and figure it out for yourself. Good luck. The 8-piece family meal, only at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, famous for a reason.
Save big on everything when you shop at Menards. Upgrade your kitchen today with Clearview Cabinetry. We offer a great selection of finishes made with the finest materials and built to withstand life's sticky messes. They provide features like soft closed doors and drawers, and with cabinet accessories to match your unique style. View our selection of Clearview Cabinetry on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer and find plenty of great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
A is for ABS, B is for BCM, C is for CBT, D is for, don't worry, we're not going to quiz you, because at Carroll Works Tire, we know the auto industry is full of acronyms. But here's the one that matters the most, tire. Trust, integrity, reliability, expertise. Carroll Works Tire, keeping Dayton rolling from A to Z. Find us online at c-wtire.com or talk to a real human at 937-461-5441.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just any tee, the band tee. You wore it everywhere until your best friend stole it. Now you're on eBay, and there it is. Same tee from the same tour. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. Where else can you find that mint trading card you searched everywhere for, or your first car, the one you wish you never sold? It has to be eBay. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 937-518-1410. So in the post game, following Miami's loss, 87-83, the Red Hawks are undefeated no more. They get knocked out in the conference tournament. In their very first game of the conference tournament, they get knocked out. And I've been frustrated with Miami all season because I just feel like they complained way too much. For a team that is undefeated, for a team that all they do is win, for a team that is in the top 25, for a team that is going to get an at-large berth, they're going to get an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, even without having to play anyone of significance. There's a lot of rules that are being ignored. Not really rules, but there's a lot of just, you know what I mean? Like they're going to get in because I think they've been bullied. Like the committee's been bullied to let them in. I'm not a fan of the way Miami has carried themselves throughout the season. Constant excuse making. Hey, Miami, you haven't played anybody, but nobody will play us. Hey, Miami, why is your players flipping people off after games? Well, they're calling us names. They're throwing stuff at us. Hey, Miami, how come you lose in the first game of the MAC tournament? Well, because the MAC. Well, I'll let you take a listen. This is basically what Travis Steele had to say following the Red Hawks loss against UMass in their opening round tournament game in the MAC tournament. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it had nothing to, and I get frustrated. We won the regular season. We'll play whatever bracket that they got, right? UMass had to play early. We had to play early. It's all the same, but you do want to probably protect those top seeds, right? Like, what's the reward that you get for going undefeated in the MAC regular season play. I think they just need to look at it. I'm not saying there needs to be.
Anyone watch The Walking Dead? Does anyone think he has like that? He's kind of speaking like Rick Grimes a little bit. When did he get like the Rick Grimes listen, like he sounds like Rick Grimes right here.
Probably protect those top seeds, right?
Protect those top seeds, right? Coral.
Like, what's the reward that you get for going undefeated in the MAC regular season play? I think they just need to look at it. I'm not saying there needs to be a change. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. We lost the game. UMass played well.
You just used it as an excuse. You just called the MAC out, but for not protecting you. You know, it's everyone else's fault for not playing you. It's everyone else's fault for why you didn't play anybody this season. It's everyone else's fault for your team not knowing how to handle themselves after winning against a rival on the road. It's the MAC's fault for you not being able to beat a bad team that you had an 8-point lead against with 7 minutes to go, and you got literally dominated on the glass, and I'm sure you got out-rebounded by UMass because you tipped off at 11 versus at 2.
They kicked our tails around the glass, around the rim. But, like, yeah, they probably should look into it. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. That was Travis Steele again, from earlier today following their loss against UMass. Look, I'm not upset at them for losing. Look, you win 31 straight games. I have no problem with them being in the NCAA tournament. I just feel like they are a very unlikable, all right? They are a very unlikable feel-good story to me. It's constant noise with them. Like, it's always pointing the finger in the other direction, and that doesn't go well. When teams lean into that, it doesn't go well. When teams constantly blame other people, think about Florida State a few years ago. Florida State from a football example, Florida State from a few years ago leaned into, oh man, the committee screwed us. And when you lean into that, your players give up and quit on the season. When you're constantly saying how everyone is screwing you over mentally, that wears you down. Florida State, they believed, like, even though I believe that the committee was right in keeping them out. I know they were undefeated, but there was a rule and a clause in there that if you have a player that's injured and that's your best player and they're out, and that feel like that changes the dynamic of who your team is, they could pull you out. They did that. But man, because they leaned into it, they were a victim. Their players quit on him. They didn't play in the bowl game, and Florida State has not returned to relevancy since then. You think about the crybaby Fighting Irish, Notre Dame. Oh, they cried and boo-hooed because the only two good teams that they played, they lost this season. And guess what? They got put in a prominent bowl game against BYU, and the players quit. And then somehow, some way, all right, a coach that I like, but I feel like it was bum behavior. It was a bum decision to sit there and tell everyone and gaslight me and everyone else, hey, you know what? I let the captains decide, and that was true leadership. You're gaslighting all of us to tell us that your team quitting was good leadership. Oh, okay. It's never a good look when teams constantly blame everybody else for their shortcomings. And Miami got into the habit of blaming everyone else for their shortcomings when they hadn't come short of anything. They were still undefeated when they were being the victims. They were undefeated and still the victims, all while being ranked in top 25 in the country, all while being in the at-large conversation despite not playing or beating anybody. And then today, you played poorly. You played down to the level of your opponent, like you had played down to their level the previous time you played them, and that game wasn't tipped off at 11 a.m. So Travis Steele, yes, I do have a problem bringing the whole, I'm not blaming the league, I'm not making excuses, we lost, but you did make the excuse. All right? Think about like if you're in college and you're about to take a big test. And I know I failed this test, but that damn professor made us take this test at 11 a.m. I would have passed it if this mofo would have been taken at 7 p.m. Would it? Or is that just an excuse? It sounds like a bunch of excuses. They're very hard to pull for me. I have a hard time pulling for Miami. The antics of Travis Steele shoving down the DJ's equipment after a lot because he didn't agree with the officiating because I'm pretty sure the officials were out to screw them. I'm not leaning into this feel good story anymore because it doesn't feel good anymore when they're constantly just whining. The league didn't protect us. The Ohio fans were calling us names. The big schools wouldn't play us. Yada, yada, yada. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. But that was Travis Steele in the postgame after losing to UMass 87-83. Miami 31-1 on the season, 18-1 in MAC play. And yeah. So, I mean, Miami's schedule too, and I don't care about the schedule of who they played at this point. I'm just looking at the timing. Like, it's kind of crazy because you look at how all this is laid out and look at how it's going to be kind of shaken out moving forward. So before today, they last played on the 12th or on the 6th. I'm sorry. So they hadn't, today's Thursday. They hadn't played since last Friday. And now, because they're knocked out in this first, early goings of this tournament, you have selection Sunday coming up. The earliest that they would play is next Tuesday if they do play in the first 4. But, I mean, my goodness, to play 2 games in 11 days, it could be 2 games in 2 weeks. You'd be playing a game a week. That's a football schedule almost. That's a lot of time off between games. So you can make an argument that helps. Rest up, get healthy, less wear and tear on the legs. Or you can make an argument that that's going to be too much time off. And it could be crazy because depending on who they are pitted up against, it's one of those where you go 31-0, you lose the first game of your conference tournament. And theoretically, for those who are questioning what they're seeing, we know that they're a good basketball team, but how good are they? We know they're a MAC team. We know that they're undefeated. We also know the context of the fact that, yes, they're undefeated, and you can't take that away from them, but you also can't ignore the fact that you didn't play anyone of real substance to sit there and act as if by going 31-0 that you deserve to automatically be in, even though you played. I mean, there's a lot of teams that I think would flirt with that undefeated record if they played the non-con and all-MAC teams. What would Ohio State's record be if they played every team that Ohio played or that Miami played in the non-con and then played all-MAC schools? I'm just saying, I think that, Ohio State's not even close to being the best team in the Big Ten, and I think that they would flirt with a damn near undefeated record if they played that same schedule. That's not me taking shots. That's just the reality of it. And if we would have to hold Ohio State and we hold all these other Power 4 teams to a certain standard, but because we're falling in love with the feel-good story over here, we're ignoring it. By the way, the wins above, the bubble and all that stuff, those are all metrics. I completely get it. But, I mean, we didn't start hearing about those metrics until this season, when those are the metrics that tell the positive story about Miami that wants to make everyone feel good. Before it was all about the net. It's all about your net ranking, your strength of schedule. How many quad 1, quad 2 wins do you have? Dayton's going to be left out this year because they don't have enough quad 1 and quad 2 wins. And, with Miami, they don't have those. In fact, they do have a quad 2 win. Wright State ended up being a quad 2 win for them, which is interesting. But they don't have enough of those metrics to justify putting them in. So now we're going to lean and find these other metrics that tell the story that we want. It just goes back to a point that we've made about, it's turning into baseball a little bit. You could take one of the worst players in baseball, and there's so many stats in baseball that you can go find a couple bullet points to convince me that that player is good. And I don't need convincing that Miami's good. I know that they're good. But are they deserving of an at-large bid just because they're a feel-good story? Or because metrically they deserve to be in? I think it's more of the latter. Or I think it's more of the fact that they're just a feel-good story. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Let me know what you think. Am I being too harsh on the Red Hawks? If you're just joining us in the post-game, Travis Steele said, you could tell he was inferring at the fact that, he's not pleased with his team playing at 11 a.m., and then kind of calling out the league a little bit, saying that you would think that you would protect your top seed. You would think that you would protect your top seed, but, and this is a good point that someone just sent in to me, that, the 11 a.m. tip-off is also designed to get, so when he says that the MAC didn't protect them, okay, to me, you play at 11 a.m., you get your game done around 1, a little after 1, and then guess what? You have all day to rest today, and then you have almost all day tomorrow to rest for the second game of the MAC tournament. I feel like if Travis Steele would have had to play, if his team had to play tonight, he would complain because there would be less time. Shout out to Nick for texting that. I'll just leave it, shout out to my buddy Nick. That's a good point. He says the 11 a.m. tip-off is to give them more rest. He'd probably complain if they had a 7 p.m. game as well. He was never going to be happy unless they won. And by the way, would he have said the same thing had they beat UMass? Because you can't just have these opinions when you lose. Had they beat UMass and then he comes to the table and says, by the way, shout out to UMass on a great season for them. They fought us hard. We got the win today. But, man, I really got to question why we're playing at 11 a.m. I feel like that's not protecting your top seed. I would still roll my eyes at it a bit, but I would respect the fact that even after a win, he feels slighted. You can't just feel disrespected because your team lost. You can't just feel like you're unprotected by your conference just because your team lost. Like I said, Miami, they're wearing on me. Everything is a problem. They are a victim in everything. Hey, Miami, you haven't played anybody. That's a fact. That's a fact. You have not played anybody. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. Miami has not played anyone of substance. That's a fact. But they became a victim because, well, they wouldn't play us. All of a sudden, emails are being leaked like it's the Epstein files. I mean, these emails are being leaked everywhere, right? Of them reaching out to these bigger schools, trying to get them on the schedule. Those are being leaked. I believe that they are efforting to get these teams on the schedule. I believe that these teams are not playing them. I also do not believe that these teams are not playing them because they're afraid of them. I believe that these bigger schools are also, they're getting emails from Miami. They're getting emails from Wright State, Toledo. They're getting emails from every MAC, Horizon, A10 small school in the country. You mean to tell me that every coach and athletic director responds to every single team that puts feelers out there? They do not. They do not. So they can't be a victim in everything. You just can't. Miami, they had that big game at Ohio. They hadn't won in Ohio at the Bobcats. They hadn't won there since 2011. Okay. And it doesn't matter that they were significantly better than Miami. It was just the fact that that's a rivalry game. And we know it's going to be a heated environment, and it was. And it sounds like Ohio fans acted like a bunch of jabronis. All right. They were hurling out insults, throwing things at the players on the floor. That is horrific behavior by the fans. We can all acknowledge that. But after the game, Miami wins, and you have the players running to the students and running to the fans, flipping them off, telling them to F off, F you, all this stuff. I'm getting lit up on social media because I pointed out that behavior is Bush League, and it is. Because apparently there is a clause in the Miami Redhawk student handbook or player handbook that says you can flip off opposing fans if they do X, Y, and Z. Apparently that's a thing. I don't know. Not okay with that. It can't always be, hey, you were flipping off the fans and telling them to F off. That's Bush League behavior. Yeah, but look what they were doing. You can't always be a victim. Sometimes it's okay to say, you're right. We need to start winning with more class. Hey, you know what? You haven't played anybody. Yeah, it was tough to get some teams on the schedule, but we're going to go out there and do our thing and compete to the best of our abilities. Guess what? It's a non-story at that point. You move on. You play in the MAC tournament, you lose to UMass, okay? And if you beat UMass, I guarantee you he doesn't say this, but because they lost to UMass, calls out the conference for not protecting their top seed. Yeah, because the MAC is to blame for why you got out-rebounded by UMass. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. The MAC is to blame for why UMass pulled down 41 rebounds compared to 24 from Miami. All right, so Miami only had 24 rebounds today because they tipped off at 11 a.m., but damn it, Miami, that rebounding number would have gone up by 15 had they tipped off later tonight. Give me a break. 937-518-1410. Let's go to Shaw. Shaw, thanks for holding. You're on live.
How you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
It's going well. Question for you.
What up?
If the team's not ready to play at 11 o'clock, that comes back on coaching. Am I wrong?
That is on coaching. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm trying to understand the whining and the complaining here because his team wasn't ready to play at 11 o'clock, because I completely agree with you. If tip-off was at 7 o'clock, that doesn't change the fact that the team shot 53% or whatever it was from the field and out-rebounded you, and you had more turnovers than them. That doesn't have anything to do with the tip-off time. It's just another coach whining and complaining and wanting everything the way he wants it, and that's all that matters. About them making the tournament, I'm almost irritated at this whole talking point, because I understand you're 31-0. But me, you, Kev, and probably we could have got some other guys around with that schedule, and we could have won 31-0 as well. I mean, let's just be serious here. You put Dayton in with that schedule. We're not even having the conversations about Anthony Grant that we've been having for the last month and a half, because Anthony Grant would be making the tournament, and it's not undefeated. They'd have 1 or 2 losses. Or Anthony Grant is exactly who we thought they were, and they'd be losing 10 to 14 games with the schedule too, but that's another conversation for another minute. But I'm tired of the whole thing. Like, I understand you can only play what your schedule says. But on the other hand, we want to sit there and whine and complain about none of these big boy teams will play us but we won't go play them on the road. Well, I mean, why should we always have to go and play on the road all the time? Well, because you're a small school and that's the way it is. Offer them 3-1. Offer them a 4-1. Offer them something to make it relative or whatever, and just go play better teams. Don't play Sister Mary of the Blind and sit there and act like you've actually done something. And with a Ken Palm of 71 offensive ranking and a Ken Palm of 153rd defensive ranking, and then come back to us like you just said about the net ranking and all the other stuff as bad as those are, and then sit there and want to whine and complain about how you're not going to make the tournament on Sunday. I'm tired of hearing it and tired of talking about it.
Yeah, and look, like I said, if they just came out and said, look, we understand that, like, sometimes it's okay just to acknowledge it. Like, I would have been a bigger fan of Notre Dame's had they just come out and said, look, we understand we shot ourselves in the foot and we have, close losses against 2 really good teams, but we feel like with the level of football, the quality of football of which we have played since, we feel like we deserve to be in the playoff. I'm not knocking that, because it's just more of a humble response. But when you try to be the victim, I have a problem with that. That's what Miami does at times, where, hey, because, by the way, he's not wrong. As mid-majors, it is tough to schedule. It is tough to get teams to, because it's also business. These are business decisions. Teams are going to spend money for you to go there. But teams, what they don't want is to spend money on a team that could potentially go in there. Like, what you're doing is, when they call them buy games, yes, you're buying games. You're buying W's. You're buying wins, which is why John Rothstein, the second that, one of the, oh man, so-and-so lost a buy game to such and such, who is that state, the epitome of brutality. We see those tweets all the time from him, because it's a big deal. Those are tough days for coaches when they go back to their athletic director after they convince that athletic director to drop $150,000 on a bad team. And then, we just spent $150,000 on a loss. Those are tough decisions. So I get why. I know teams weren't trying to put Miami on the schedule. I understand that. But what you don't get to do is turn around and try to make those teams out to be the bad guy, because those teams aren't the bad guy for that. It's okay just to say, hey, yeah, we knew we had a good quality team coming back. We knew it was going to be tough to get some good teams on the schedule. We're still proud of the body of work that we did, perform with, and we're looking forward to, challenging to get into the NCAA tournament. Now I'm still a fan of yours. Now I'm pulling for you. But when you're trying to make it seem like teams are afraid of you, that's not what's happening here. Like, that stuff just gets old. I'm sure there's teams that Miami wouldn't play for that very reason. I'm sure that there were smaller schools that Miami wouldn't play for that very reason. So I don't know. That's why they're tough for me to get, the way they carried themselves after the Ohio game. By the way, both two things could be true at the same time, that the Ohio fans acted like a bunch of asshats, and so did the Miami players. Two things could be true at the same time, and the MAC did not screw them over today, because had they played later tonight and then would have had to play tomorrow at like 2 or 4, whatever it would have been, oh, wow, less than 24 hours later, we have to play another game. The MAC wasn't protecting us. They would always find something to complain about.
Exactly, and that's my frustration with the whole thing. They always have to be the victim in everything this year. The road trip last Friday at Ohio, you took what exactly could have been a very positive thing for Miami basketball and all of that, and you turned it into a negative because you wanted to act like what you said. I'm not going to say it because you'll kick me off here, but
you just always pick the worst words. Like, there are words you could say. Stop acting like I've kicked you. You act like you've said ass in the past and I've dropped you off the foot. No, you dropped like the worst of the worst. You go for the worst 4-letter words.
You dropped me once for saying that 3-letter word that begins with an A, but I mean, that was
because I'm sure you called me that.
It's possible. I mean, it is, but I mean, but going back to the topic at hand, it's just, it's.
I'm not Miami. I'm not easily offended by words. There's just certain words you can't say.
That is very true. That is very true. I mean, that's very true. I mean, I'm tired of but I mean, it goes along with the society we're in now. Everybody has to be the victim. Everybody has to be woe is me and everything like that. And you take away what could have been a very positive, very uplifting. I mean, they fought hard to come back and win that game, and you completely forget about it now because all you remember is the players running around that arena like they actually deserve to be flipping off the fans and acting like, I mean, come on. Go celebrate with your fans because you just went undefeated. You just won a MAC championship for the first time in, 10, 12 years? Like, go celebrate that. Act like I guess you haven't been there before, but, I don't know. It turned me completely off last week when they went and they did that. And that now you want to sit here and you want to whine and complain because your team hasn't been playing well for 2 weeks, and you want to act like it's the MAC's fault because you guys tipped off at 11 o'clock. Regardless of when you played today, you'd have been playing less than 24 hours later tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you tipped off at 7. Doesn't matter if you tipped off at 1. It doesn't matter. You'd have been playing 24 hours or less tomorrow because that's just the way the tournament rolls. So, now you want to sit here and do this and do that. And I disagree with this whole notion that they should automatically be in. So to take it to another degree, you have that schedule, and I understand not everyone should go undefeated, and that's a bar that we can't start holding everybody to. If you're in the MAC and you're in the A10 and all that, I get on the one hand that we can't hold everybody to be undefeated. But when your schedule strength is in the 300s, I think we can hold you to be undefeated because you didn't challenge yourself at all. And you bring up the challenges of to scheduling. Everybody, all the small, that's part of the gig. That's what the money's for. I get it on the one hand, but there's too many tournaments now that you can go play in. There's too many teams. There's 363 teams in Division I basketball. Don't tell me you couldn't go play somebody on the road. Just don't. I just don't want to hear it. But anyhow, I hear it. I'll talk to you later. Go Blue. Peace.
937-518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Yeah, the other thing too to consider, and I know I've talked about this with Paul Frischner on the show before. That there are, these smaller schools have always had to go to these bigger schools. I mean, I've shared this before. There are some conferences who mandate that the schools in that conference, the smaller schools, like I'll use the Horizon, for instance, the Horizon League does mandate that you play at least one bye game a year. Now, the conference does that because you're hoping that if every team in your conference does at least put a big school on their schedule and one or two of those teams knocks off one of those teams, that'll bump up, the team, the conference metrics and all that. So it's done from that perspective. It's also done too because it does help that a lot of times, you're going to get your brands on some of whether it's the SEC network, whether it's on, you're going to get on some of the bigger branded channels. Your opportunity for national games increases. So there's that reason too. The third reason is, for those reasons, but also from athletic director purposes, you should require your coaches to play those games. Some coaches give a little pushback, but as an AD, you should push your coaches to do those bye games because it's $100,000 sometimes. It's $150,000. I'd have to look to see what the average bye game rate is. But in the day and age where you could pay players now, if I'm a team like Wright State, I'm going to put Michigan on the schedule next year and say, hey, that check that you gave me, I'm going to go to Michael Cooper and say, hey, if you stay here another year, that Michigan check that we get next year is yours. And then I'm going to look at Kellen Pickett, and I'm going to go play Michigan State. And I'm going to say, hey, the bye game money that we get from that, hey, thank you for the check. Just forward it over to Kellen Pickett. All right? That's what I would do too. That's what you should do. And that's what certain teams do. Oakland, out of the Horizon, the team that went on that the NCAA tournament run years ago, they subsidize a lot of their team with bye game dollars. They've run their program with a lot of money from those bye game dollars. So what I'm saying is there are a lot more teams who are in that situation now. So now there's more small schools reaching out to these bigger schools for more bye games. There are more bye games being requested than ever before, which means not everyone's going to get bye games. You may be lucky to get one bye game because everyone is chomping at the bit to get those dollars. So there you go. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Ron Howard says most small venues can't hold the attendance for a big school coming in. Ron, this isn't about home games. This is just games in general. This isn't about like Miami not being able to get teams to come play them there. This is just about Miami couldn't get anyone willing to play them. Like even if Miami would have gone to play at Kansas or at Kentucky, these are games that they would have theoretically lost. That's the thing that people are frustrated with. And like we're ignoring college basketball logic here. Most schools like Miami usually play a Kansas or a Michigan or a Michigan State or an Ohio State. They'll play those bigger schools, which theoretically means you're gonna lose those games. You don't really see. I'm not saying it never happens, but you don't really see those types of upsets happen too often in November and December. So Miami, had they played Kansas or Kentucky or a bigger school and they lose that game, they lose to Illinois. Okay. Now they're with one loss heading into January. We're not even talking about them getting an at-large bid, but it's because they were undefeated. So when you counter and say they haven't played anybody, that matters. Because had they played Kansas and lost and won every other game, they wouldn't even be in the conversation. But yet, here we are making an exception for this team because, well, okay, so had they lost the last regular season game, that'd be different than losing the first conference tournament game. That the goalposts keep moving. They're a great story, and that's why they're going to get in more than anything else. I want them to get in. I want to see what happens in an 11 versus 11. It's also interesting enough to me that they could potentially get as high as a 10 seed or a 9 or a single-digit seed. Who knows? Miami's fascinating, though. We'll see what happens. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
When you're vacationing in your RV, there are some things you can always count on. Laying out on a hammock, waking up to birds chirping, and board games with the family.
What? It's not cheating.
Frank, you're scaring the kids.
Oh, come on, guys. We're having fun. It's family time.
With Progressive, your RV is protected 24/7, so you're prepared for whatever you don't see coming.
Technically, it's a loophole.
It's a children's board game. You're a grown man, Frank.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast, increasing clouds and 38 tonight. We have that high wind warning tomorrow. Chance of showers in 59. Mostly cloudy, 53 on Saturday. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
True Green. Stop doing it yourself and get a golf course quality lawn the easy way from the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Sign up today at truegreen.com.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Traffic and body pain can slow you down, but don't let the pain stop you. With just one pill, Aleve provides up to 12 hours of pain relief, so you can keep moving. Use as directed.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way.
That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free edition only, roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple form, top 40 returns only. How this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the Rest Up Bathroom Custodian. Is there toilet paper? No. Paper towels? No. Clean stalls? Also no. But the soap dispenser is full, and that counts for something. Thanks, hero. Know what else keeps truckers going? Progressive's expanded cargo protection through their enhanced Cargo Plus coverage. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. Not available in California.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner with you here, hour 2, the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. So Miami, the big news today, number 20, and they're ranked 20th in the country. Probably going to fall out of the top 25, whatever that means. Selection Sunday's coming up, so who cares? But they will probably lose that ranking in front of their name. But I think all they care about is the next number that's in front of their name is what seed they are in the NCAA tournament. And Miami, they lose to UMass today, 87-83. Miami, 31-1 on the season. That's where their record sits right now. Whether it's the NIT that's next, it's not the NIT. They're in the NCAA tournament. But, there's people out there I see on social media. I don't know if they're going to get in. I think they're going to get in. Do I think that they should be in? It's not that I don't. I think that they are working really hard to find metrics to justify putting them in. When, okay, they have the one loss today, but if that one loss happens back in January, I don't think that they're in. If that one loss happens in February, I don't think that they're in. If 30 win, you know what I mean? Like that's the problem I have with this is like we're picking and choosing. I think we're cherry picking a lot of this stuff with Miami at the end of the day. That's kind of how I feel about it. But as we sit here right now, Joe Lenardi just updated his latest bracketology report. And the cool thing is, here in Dayton, the NCAA tournament tips off here in Dayton every year, the first four. And, I'm wondering with that loss, I was like, well, maybe, I want good teams to be playing in the first four here. It's still a great atmosphere no matter who's playing in it, but there have been better atmospheres. It was really cool when Dayton played in the first four. Wright State played in I think Wright State in the first four a few years ago in 2022. That was probably the most electric 16 seed first four matchup because of obviously it being a pseudo home game for the Raiders, of course. But, we had Xavier playing it last year. And that was a good atmosphere last year for that Xavier Texas game. So either way, that was good. But with Miami losing, what does that do for the potential of their seeding and NCAA tournament possibilities? So I thought that was interesting. We'll take a look at that as I pull this up here. Give me 1 second while this loads. My apologies. It was loading, and then, of course, it leaves me hanging on the air here. But the thing that's interesting, Miami, 31-0. Their strength of schedule, sits at 307. 306 teams, all right, have played tougher schedules than them. 306. Okay. They played 0 Q1 Quad 1 games. They played 2 Quad 2 games, and they are 2-0 in those games. In fact, with Wright State continuing to win down the stretch, their net ranking improved, and it moved to that Miami win at Wright State back in December. It moved that was considered a Quad 2 win, winning at Wright State back in December. So they're 2-0 in Quad 2, 11-0 in Quad 3. 15 wins in Quad 4, but their one loss on the season does come. You know what I mean? Like, you played 0 Quad 1 games, and your only loss comes against a Q4 team. You're 13-0 combined in Q2 and 3 games. I get the frustration that people have. There a little bit. So there's that. Again, their Ken Pom ranking, the strength of schedule, 307 in the country. Then you look at Auburn. Okay, Miami's 31-0. Auburn is 17-15. And a lot of you out there say Auburn has no business even discussing being in the NCAA tournament conversation. And I see 17-15, and I tend to agree. But then I also look at the other metrics. Miami of Ohio is 31-1 with the strength of schedule of 307. 306 teams have played a tougher schedule than the Redhawks. They have played 0 Q1 games, and their only loss comes against a Q4 team. Auburn, 17-15. And I'm not really advocating for Auburn to make the tournament, but I understand people's frustration when Miami and the fans who are for the feel-good story don't want Auburn in. Auburn played 16 games against Q1 opponents. Miami played 0. Auburn, 4 Q1 wins. I mean, the fact that they played 16 Q1 teams compared to 0 Q1 teams for Miami, Auburn right there wins this argument. The fact that Miami played 16 Q4 games and is 15-1, their only losses against a Q4 team. Auburn is 6-0 against Q4 teams. They didn't lose to bad teams. All right, they're combined 10-1 against quads 3 and 4. 4 wins against Q1 teams. And you want to know what their strength of schedule? 4. Auburn, everyone's like, well, they have to be punished for their losses. Yes, but the probability of having 15 losses with the 4th toughest schedule in the country is significantly higher than the opportunities that Miami had to lose playing the 307th ranked schedule in college basketball. Guys, you have to take your feel-good hat off. Stop worrying about the fact that it feels like they are a feel-good story. But if we're going to have the debate about, okay, Miami versus Auburn, for one, let's just say it. You hate Bruce Pearl, which is interesting because he's not even the coach. But you hate Bruce Pearl. So that plays a role in this. But logic does say when you are 4-12 in Q1 games, and Miami's played 0 Q1 games, and their strength of schedule is 307. Their only losses against a Q4 team. Auburn has no Q4 losses. They have 4 Q1 wins. They have the 4th toughest schedule in college basketball. Yes, that stuff matters. And I know people say, well, 31-1, all Miami does is win. That has to matter too. It does matter. The fact that Miami's even in the conversation, that's them being rewarded for being 31-1. And Miami's going to make the tournament, so it doesn't matter. But for those that say Auburn doesn't deserve to be in the conversation, are we just ignoring the strength of schedule? Yeah, well, they have all the losses. They play a tough schedule. But look at all the wins that Miami has. Look at their strength of schedule. It all, like, they are, we can't just sit here and say, I hate Bruce Pearl, and that's why I don't want Auburn to be in it. Bruce Pearl is a very unlikable guy. I get it. I'm not a big Bruce Pearl fan either, to be quite honest with you. But the bottom line is just because you dislike him, who's not even the head coach of this team, doesn't mean that you use that to sit there and say, the bottom line is Miami should be in. And Auburn, if they're in, they deserve to be in too. Auburn deserves to be in too, as far as that's concerned. But that this is going to be a big debate down the stretch. And all of this got started because of the comments from Bruce Pearl 2 weeks ago, when theoretically Bruce Pearl was not wrong, but we have just all agreed we don't like Bruce Pearl. So if it's someone we don't like, we just basically chalk up what they say as to being wrong. When Bruce Pearl said that it will be interesting to see how the committee approaches Miami, because if they approach Miami as most deserving versus one of the best, it's fair to question the best conversation because they haven't played anybody. But most deserving, well, yeah, when you're 31-0, yeah, you deserve to be in. It just depends where the committee's going to lean, most deserving or best. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm sorry, my ADD got swept away there once again. So Joe Lunardi just updated his bracketology at 3:30, about an hour ago. He updated it after the Miami loss. Okay. So we are fortunate to have the first 4 here in Dayton. So we're going to step away for a few moments. When we come back, with the finals of all these conference tournament games happening, a big domino just happened with Miami losing. What happens with Miami? Where does he have them seated? Does he have them playing in Dayton? What about the Buckeyes, who a couple weeks ago we were talking about next season? And now we're talking about next week, because the Buckeyes seem to be firm in the NCAA at-large picture. But how firm are they? Could we see them in Dayton next week? Are they in the mix for a first 4 bid? Wright State just clinched their NCAA tournament berth by winning the Horizon League 2 nights ago. What's their ceiling? How high does Joe Lunardi have them, rated on his latest bracketology? And who does he have them going up against? We'll take a look at all of that when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's the Race Cars and Future Stars Expo 2026, March 20th through 22nd at the Pickwas Center. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9. Sunday, noon to 5. Saturday is Kids Day with balloon artists, face painting, and the Dayton Race Fans Benefit Auction at 1 o'clock. Over 60 race cars from Ohio and Indiana. Your chance to be up close with some of the best cars and drivers in the area. Food, fun, and entertainment. Admission is free. The Race Cars and Future Stars Expo at the Pickwas Center, I-75, exit 82. Don't miss it.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimball Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Till Good RX wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Brian Setzer, Slim Jim Phantom, Lee Rocker, The Stray Cats, U.S. Tour.
We're gonna rock this town, rock it inside out.
August 10th, Rose Music Center at the Heights.
I got cat class and I got cat style.
Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office.
Slip into the alley with the runaway boy. Where your sexy is
Stray Cats Live.
Star City Concrete is the Miami Valley's most trusted concrete company, offering unparalleled services as a local family-owned business celebrating 20 years. We offer residential and commercial driveways, patios, walkways, steps, barn floors, slabs, foundations, and much more. Star City Concrete takes pride in delivering exceptional quality in every project. Our professional team understands that needs are unique, so we offer personalized solutions that stand the test of time. Contact us today for a quote at StarCityConcreteLLC.com. You'll be glad you did.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lays, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guessed Discover, you guessed right, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hauer Music, one of the nation's largest music stores, is having an inventory sale. Yes, Hauer Music in Centerville is now celebrating 89 years with their largest sale of the year. Hauer's has all of your musical instrument needs, including guitars, drums, keyboards, pianos, band instruments, and so much more. Hauer Music was voted the #1 independent music store in Ohio by Guitar Player magazine, along with an Eclipse Award winner from the Better Business Bureau. Award-winning sales and service. That's why Hauer's is the best in Dayton. Hauer Music inventory sale going on now.
The NCAA First Four is back at the epicenter of college basketball. The excitement tips off Selection Sunday, March 15th, with 2 family-friendly events. Lace up for the big hoopla 4-miler at Wright State University, and then bring the family to the free STEM challenge at our brand new, exciting location, the Nutter Center. It all leads to the NCAA First Four at UD Arena, March 17th and 18th. The First Four, Dayton and the Big Hoopla. Details at DaytonHoopla.com.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right, KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefonte, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Ready to free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at AmazonBusiness.com.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by.
Having trouble sleeping? Visit Mattress Firm during the Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Their sleep experts will help find your perfect bed. They make sleep easy.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Miami loses earlier today, 87 to 83. They are eliminated from the MAC tournament, from the MAC conference tournament, of course. And, well, the MAC is going to be – it's a big day for the MAC because they're now a two-bid league because Miami is most likely going to get in. But where, how high will they be seated? What region? Who could they play? When will they play? All of that, of course, is going to be talked about moving forward. So Joe Lunardi, ESPN, updated his bracketology earlier on today. And Joe Lunardi says that a relatively calm championship week was blown apart early Thursday afternoon when the Red Hawks departed the unbeaten ranks. The Red Hawks' loss was extremely bad news for teams on the precipice of an at-large bid, specifically Auburn, which was downgraded from last team in to first team out, ahead of its crucial second-round SEC tournament showdown with Tennessee coming up. Had Miami captured the max automatic bid, Auburn probably would have cracked the field even with the loss against Tennessee. Now that you have a confirmed bid stealer, of course, being whoever wins the MAC, even a win might not be enough for Auburn. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But we'll take a look at some of this stuff. I talked a little bit ago, about how many teams on an annual basis from the state of Ohio make the NCAA tournament. In 2021, Ohio State and Cleveland State made the NCAA tournament. We have a ton of great teams. We have a ton of Division I college basketball teams here in the state of Ohio. And yet we averaged in the last 5-6 years just about two, three teams a tournament. Last year, Xavier and Akron made it. In 24, Dayton and Akron made it. In 23, 3 teams made it in Xavier, Kent State, and Ohio State. In 2022, Ohio State, Akron, and Wright State. That was the year Wright State won their first tournament game in program history. And then in 2021, you had Ohio State and Cleveland State. And this year, it looks like we're going to have, quite a few teams in the tournament as well. Miami's most likely, they're in. All right. Wright State's in. They get the auto bid with winning the Horizon. Ohio State, they appear to be safe. They got another big win today in the Big Ten tournament. And now we sit back, Xavier's season's still live. Technically, they're in the Big East. They're not winning the Big East tournament, but they're in the Big East tournament still. They won yesterday. Cincinnati's out. But, Akron could still be in the mix. And right now, Akron is listed as a 12 seed, according to Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology. He has Akron in at 12, going up against Tennessee in a 12-5 matchup. That would be an intriguing one, nonetheless. One of the first 4 fields that Joe Lunardi has filled out in the 11 versus 11, VCU out of the A10, and then going up against Dennis Gates in Missouri out of course, the SEC. So that's an interesting showdown right there as far as that's concerned. Continuing to go down this list, Ohio State, he has them listed as an 8 seed going up against Clemson. As far as the first 4, a 16 seed matchup, Southern against Lehigh in the battle of 16s. I know that's not a sexy matchup there, but just giving you an idea of how he sees kind of that shaking out. And then the one to keep an eye on, we talked about the other 11 versus 11 matchup in VCU against Missouri. The second 11 versus 11 matchup that I think we're all kind of circling and keeping an eye on, because I think Miami could technically be in that 11 versus 11 and probably should be, when you have a strength of schedule at 307, 0 quad 1 wins, and 1 quad 4 loss. I think you should be in the play-in 11 versus 11. But Joe Lunardi has Miami of Ohio at 11 going up against Wisconsin in the first round. The second 11 versus 11 first 4 showdown features Texas and SMU. So a battle of Texas and SMU in Texas is the one 11 seed matchup. And then the other 11 seed matchup potentially, as we discussed, would be, of course, you have the Lehigh Southern and the 16 seed matchup But the first 4 ones we'll keep an eye on as far as how all of those could potentially unfold. VCU and Missouri, sorry, as far as that goes. As far as the Raiders, he has Wright State as a 14 seed going up against a 3 seed in Nebraska. We talked about this yesterday, but here are some of the teams that Wright State, I think Wright State's going to be a 14. Their net ranking is pretty high, and roughly, the 14s have a net ranking in that 120 to 130 range. Wright State, I think if I'm not mistaken, they were kind of sitting in that 120. They were in the middle of the 120 range as far as that goes. But they're 23-11. All right, they're projected as the high. They could be as high as a 14 seed. Nonetheless, but they 14 versus 3. They could play Nebraska. They could play Gonzaga. Right? They could play Alabama. They could play Illinois. Those are all the teams that are in the mix as far as that's concerned, either way, but something to keep an eye on moving forward. And then, so there you go. But yeah, Ohio State in the mix, Wright State, Miami, Akron. I think you can get as many as 4 teams from the state of Ohio in on the conversation before anything else, nonetheless. So, all right, we have about 10 more minutes left, then we'll take another break. We'll have Clint Sargent, head coach of the Raiders. We'll have our conversation with him around the corner as the Raiders have punched their ticket to the 5th tournament, NCAA tournament in program history. But today is March 12th, and it's kind of crazy that 6 years ago today is when we found out that the whole sports landscape was just going to come to a screeching halt. So 2020, the NCAA tournament, the season, the special season, of course, for Trey Landers and Ryan Mikesell, Obi Toppin, Jalen Crutcher, the National Coach of the Year in Anthony Grant, the National Player of the Year in Obi Toppin, the 29-2 Dayton Flyers. They had won 20 straight games. They were a projected number 1 seed, led by National Player of the Year in Obi Toppin. And for us locally, it's like that season has just absolutely hammered Flyer fans since, because it's just constant. Here we are in 2026, and it's still talked about what could have been in 2020. And, a lot of people bring up that Dayton was robbed of a national championship opportunity. Look, to me, Dayton, no offense to Dayton, but they would have been one of the weaker number 1 seeds in NCAA tournament history. As good as they were. I mean, like I said, as good as they were, and they were going to be a 1 seed, but come on. I just never looked at them and thought, okay, that was a legit number 1 seed type of team, as good as they were. I mean, they were 29-2, and that's a hell of a record, and they did their thing, but like, keep in mind, like, they only played 2 ranked teams in 2020. And those 2 losses that Dayton had were against the only 2 ranked teams that they played that year. I was as bummed as anybody. For those of you who call me a Flyers hater, I wanted that tournament to happen more than anything, because I wanted to see them do it. I wanted to see what they look like against a good team. Now, they almost beat Kansas. All right, they beat Georgia. I get that. But having to win in the first round, and then the round of 32, then the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final 4, to do that, this is the one tournament where the best team doesn't always win it. It's rare when the best team in college it's about the hottest team in college basketball. Dayton was very, very good that year. I never once felt like I was watching a national championship level team. I just didn't. But man, how horrific that day was 6 years ago when we found out that the sports landscape was going to come to a screeching halt. You had the Major League Baseball season opening day was weeks out. The NCAA tournament was a week out. The NBA season was going, hot and heavy. The NFL draft was in the near future. We were close to that. That was the year Joe Burrow ended up getting drafted. But man, what a wild time it was 6 years ago. Crazy, nonetheless. But yeah, that 2020 Dayton Flyers team, probably the biggest what if. I would have loved to have seen what they would have been able to do in the NCAA tournament. I've just never felt that they were robbed of a national championship opportunity, because I never once felt that they were a national championship contender. I did not. You had Luka Garza that year with Iowa. I thought Iowa, was a better team than Dayton was. I thought Ohio State that year in 2020, I thought that Ohio State team was better than Dayton. And Ohio State wasn't even considered a 1 seed. But again, put Ohio State, let them run the schedule that Dayton does. It's kind of like this Miami conversation. In 2020, with Weston and all those guys, I thought that Ohio State team was better than that Dayton Flyers team. That was a good Dayton team. I just don't think that they were national championship contenders. I just don't. But nonetheless, it was a tough year for everyone. Everyone's sports, life came to a screeching halt that year. But never want to experience something like that again. But, it would have been depressing no matter what. But, man, I definitely understand it. It was a historic, we talk about Cinderella runs in the NCAA tournament. That was like a Cinderella regular season. Something that you hadn't seen anything like that before. Probably won't see it again. That's how a lot of teams feel when they go on those Cinderella runs in the NCAA tournament. You don't see those before, you probably won't see them again. And for it to, come to an end the way that it did, for what it did, because of what happened, I don't think that the Dayton Flyers fan base has really recovered since. Because it's just, this team has never once scratched the surface. I mean, even the best that they looked post-2020 was the 2024 team with Deron Holmes. But, I mean, my goodness, this roster has had some talented pieces on it in that, in a certain stretch. I mean, you had Tumani Kamara, and obviously you had, Deron Holmes, you had Kobe Brea, all on the same roster and nothing to really show for it. They've had opportunities. They just haven't been able to capitalize. And that's why I think I'm very curious to see what happens tomorrow with Dayton in the A-10 tournament. Obviously you have to win many games. You have to win quite a few games, of course. But, what happens? The seat, I don't think it's hot for Anthony Grant because I think that the athletics department over there, they're content. They're content with being a 20-win team. They're content with not making the NCAA tournament. I know that sounds weird, but if Anthony Grant's seat is not hot, that just tells you that the expectations are still being met and not the expectations that they told you. They told you what they wanted to hear. But if the Dayton Flyers program was truly about the NCAA tournament, Anthony Grant's seat should be hot. And I'll tell you why it should be even hotter. For a team that refuses to play Wright State and looks down at Wright State, for the third time in the last 10 years, Wright State will have their name read on Selection Sunday. That'll be the third time for Wright State compared to only one time in the last 10 years for UD. I'm just saying. All right, they refuse to play Wright State. They are afraid of Wright State. They may tell you they look down at Wright State, but deep down they respect Wright State because why else would you stay away from them? Why else would you play them? But luckily, this city has a team that at least gives you opportunities to hear their name on Selection Sunday. Wright State for the third time in 10 years. That's pretty damn good for a program that doesn't have an NBA arena, that doesn't have millions of dollars in NIL funds, that doesn't have the resources that a certain private school here in town has. I've said it for many, many years. I've said it since I started doing this show. Give me the team, give me the coach, give me the players, give me the staff that always does more with less. And Wright State has always had one of the smaller athletic budgets in the state, and they've always done more with that than the unlimited funds that the old Dayton Flyers seem to have. Anthony Grant does less with more. Clint Sargent, Scott Nagy, Wright State, over the years, they've always done more with less. Dayton better get to the NCAA tournament this year because that's about in no stretch in the history of the Wright State and UD programs should Wright State ever ratio Dayton 3-1 in a 10-year stretch on NCAA tournament appearances. Dayton should never go 10 years where Wright State has more NCAA tournament appearances than them. That's crazy to me. That's insane. Dayton in action tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but a lot of pressure on them, in my opinion. We'll be right back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty.